Hello everybody, welcome back to part 20 of the Making of Encounter blog series. First of all, right at the top, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody. We've had some amazing support so far, and it really means a lot to know that people are enjoying the series, so cheers. Today we're going to be talking all about concept art, the importance of it, why Elliot and I have made some, and how it's been used so far and why it's really useful. Behind me we've got one of the posters that we've produced for the film. You may have seen it on the Facebook page. I'm going to be talking about how we put that together. We've got a little time lapse for you just to show you some of the key points. Hopefully you'll find that interesting. We started developing concept art during the script writing stages, which is quite early on, I guess you'd say. I've got some examples here. So we'd just do little sketches on the sides of the pages or on little pieces of paper to help us visualise the scenes, to get us excited about what we were writing, and really bring the scenes and the sequences to life. And I strongly recommend that, give you a bit more enthusiasm when you're doing your writing. It also came in handy for blocking certain sequences, and I'll show you a quick example of that now. So here's an example of some of the drawings we did to help block a certain scene. It may look like a bit of a mess, that's probably because it is, but in this sequence there was quite a lot of movement and action, and we felt in order to make sure that we were writing it clearly, we needed to draw it, and it really worked. Elliot and I are also considering making an animated storyboard for this particular scene, so these will be hugely helpful when we come to do that. Now, before I go on to talk about this particular piece of work that we've done, I just wanted to say one thing quite quickly. Don't worry if you don't think you're a particularly good artist or you don't think you can draw. Elliot and I were both art students, so I guess that was a huge advantage. But although we did do a few pieces of concept art from scratch as drawings, most of the concept art pieces that we ended up with were actually a combination of techniques. This particular poster here is kind of a combination. It's bringing different elements together to create one piece. So using things like Photoshop, you can get some really great results even if you don't think you're an artist, so don't panic. This is a poster that we've produced. It's very nice, I think you'll agree. And we've done it so that we can put it out online to help build a bit of interest in the film. You know, if you've got a film coming out, a short film, or you're making one, you can put up pieces of concept art on the internet to help get a bit of interest in them. This particular one's on our Facebook page. If you want to go and have a closer look, I'd recommend it. We'll also be putting it on documents, official documents to do with the film, such as the business plan. We'll probably put it in a presentation that we will have to give to investors or potential investors, and it all just goes towards helping raise a bit of interest and a bit of excitement about the project when they first hear about it. Cool. So I've got a time lapse here, and I'm just going to talk you through some of the key areas of the development of this particular piece. So I started with the background, specifically the skyline, because I wanted to get a reference for the piece to know the kind of perspective of it. And we wanted like a really threatening horizon, if that makes any sense. So I used a kind of composed images of forest fires, dust storms, things like that. Added a few details myself, just to create this kind of really threatening, really clear horizon. And I wanted to also create more of a perspective shift, make it look like this was the brow of a hill or the top of a hill. And to do that, I just used some of the transformation tools in Photoshop to just curve and bend this straight horizon. Next up, I focused on the sky itself, and for this image we wanted a really stormy, really disturbed sky. So I got a lot of references. I used pictures from the internet, went on Google. Some images I directly referenced, so I would grab and drag and drop them onto the piece and then use Photoshop blending tools to kind of implement them into or integrate them into the piece. And other times I actually drew in details myself using some brushes just to kind of emphasize a few areas. So yeah, we needed a really disturbing, really threatening sky, really menacing, because we wanted to put a person in the foreground looking up at this event and this sky and feeling really kind of small in the picture and feeling really overshadowed and dominated by whatever's going on in the distance. And then I started work on the house. Now the house I'd actually made for another piece of concept art that we'd done for Encounter earlier on. So all that was done for me already, which is great. Next up was this light beam. Something quite suspicious is clearly going on in this house. So I went online once again. I found a couple of very interesting kind of light shaft images, dust storms. I've also got a number of brushes that I've been using in Photoshop, which are swirls and vortexes, which are really, really useful. Using that light, it meant that we could create a silhouette of the house and make it look as if there was something going on inside the house. So You know, we added these light shafts to make it look like there was like a violent storm going on inside. The grass that's kind of spilling down over the hill really sells that perspective. Again, I used some of the Photoshop tools to curve and warp that to make it fit within the kind of perspective of the piece. And then here's the example of, you know, a bit of collaging. So this is actually a picture of Elliot, believe it or not, that we took in the garden. We got him facing the sun because we wanted that sun creeping over his shoulders and on the top of his head to work within the image eventually. And this is actually a kitchen roll he's holding here, so that's going to be his torch that will later make it look a bit more like it's a torch rather than a kitchen roll. So there he is. He's been flipped. I've graded him a little bit, cut him out, and put him in the image. Again, he's got that backlight on him. He's got like a halo around him that you might get in the mist, and that's just plucking him off the piece and making him much more clear. For the lightning bolts, there are some really almost hidden or obscured lightning bolts in the storm to give the storm a bit more depth. I just literally, you know, grabbed those off the internet, dragged them in, and had a play with them in Photoshop to try and make it look like they were part of the storm. And these gave the cloud more depth, so it looked like it was deep. There was stuff going on within it. It was a really thick cloud because the light wasn't getting through and all that kind of thing. So I really think it helped to sell that effect. Everything else was handled, so I decided to put in some trees and some bushes in the foreground. Drew a few of those in. I also used some high resolution brushes that I got online, and again I created a bloom that would be coming from the torch. The idea there was to silhouette the trees to make them stand out. If you've watched any of our behind the scenes blogs on the making of the proof of concept trailer, you'll recognise the chiaroscuro technique there to help pick them off the screen and make them really stand out and give the image much more depth. So yeah, that was quite simple but quite clever, and I think that's really sold that kitchen roll really. Again, you'd get that, it really sells the idea of a misty hilltop, which is what we really wanted to do. And the trees also gave that British element as well. This is going to be a British film shot in Britain, and it's going to be a different twist on the alien encounter story you might be used to, you might have seen. It's a different perspective on the story. And here's the final grade, and with the encounter title at the bottom as well, with a bit of a strapline on it too. So there you go, a quick tour of all the different elements involved in putting this piece together. We're very happy with how it came out, and it's already proven to be very popular with quite a few people, so that's how we did it. So there you go, I hope that was insightful, giving you a bit of a closer glimpse at all the different workings that went on behind putting this piece together. So just as a summary, why is concept art important? It's fantastic for showing other people your ideas and getting, you know, making it very clear for them. As I said before, a picture paints 1,000 words, so instead of having to describe a certain scene, like for example here, if we've got this big light behind this house, we can just show them a picture and people instantly understand what we're talking about. It's also incredibly useful in terms of promotion for your film, gaining a bit of interest, a bit of PR, and also for the more official parts, things like business plans and presentations. One of the next things that Elliot and I are going to be doing is we're going to be getting out there and starting to talk to visual effects companies. So this is going to be hugely important. It's going to be really, really useful in helping to show them what things we're looking for and what kind of visuals that we would like in the film. So another use there. Finally, we just want to say a huge thanks to everybody. And again, if you could like or share this, post it on your Facebook page, post it on Twitter. There's the share buttons there. They're right there waiting for you. Just, it's free. No? Okay. Anyway, just you know, help us out here. We're trying to do something fun, and I hope you're enjoying it. Get it out there and share it with other filmmakers. I'm sure they'll appreciate it, and we certainly would as well. So thanks a lot, guys, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.